Welcome to the 2024 Upper Niagara River video. The footage you're seeing was filmed in late June and early July. We're seeing a lot of young walleye, 17, 18-inch fish, and some nicer ones. We're also seeing a ton of weed growth in the river this year, a lot of moss and weeds, and it does seem to be a pretty good year for gobies. Smallmouth bass are still the most common fish in the river, although I think their numbers might be down a little bit from previous years. We still encounter some muskies, although not in the numbers we used to, and we've only seen one sturgeon so far this year. As we enjoy the Niagara River fish life, I'd like to say hello to a few guys. I'd like to say hello to everybody I dove with over the years. And I'd like to particularly say hello to the few guys that are still left diving. Our crew of 20 is down to about 5, and I really appreciate that Jim, Billy, Joe, and Brian are still getting out there with me and doing some scuba diving. I'd also like to acknowledge Dip and Dive, the local dive shop that's about a mile from my house, for being there for air fills, equipment service, training, and advice throughout the entirety of my dive career. In a changing world, I'm really glad that they're still there. I'd also like to thank YouTube. I started this channel back in 2007, right after YouTube did their initial reboot. You won't find too many videos older than some of the ones I have on here. And even now that they're a big streaming service, probably one of the most popular television streaming services, they still maintain this free YouTube, which is sort of the sum of all man's knowledge on Earth. I was on it the other day and I looked, and I had to change my wife's taillight assembly on her Escape. There was a YouTube video on it that made it easy. And it's the same for a lot of things, really. I'm out constantly on there looking to tie new knots or anything I might want to work on. I usually watch a YouTube video first, and it gives me a pretty good idea what I have to do, or reminds me of what I have to do. So big shout out to YouTube. This video was shot between Grand Island and the Peace Bridge on a variety of dives over 8 drifts, so maybe about 4 hours underwater. These are some of the highlights. We're always seeking out areas where we can get some mixed vegetation, weed edges, rock piles, scattered rock bottom. We find that holds the most fish, and we've got a few drifts that'll give us a good amount of that during our half-hour to 40-minute drifts. The river seems so mossy and weedy this year, I'm not really inclined to fish it. I've been doing most of my fishing out on the lake. I can see spending most of my time just trying to keep the weeds off my line. This was filmed on my HD Hero 5. I think GoPro is up to HD Hero 12 now, so I'm sure they're even nicer than this. I still have an original HD Hero 1 in the cellar. I put a new battery in it a couple years ago, and it still works. And the HD Heroes were real game changers. So, before that, I was diving with the Sony Handycam in an Isolate enclosure, and it was like taking a toaster diving, even bigger and bulkier. It was real cumbersome in dives where there's a lot of current, which of course the Niagara River has, and a lot of other places I dive. So to come out with a small camera that did an even better job and at a lot better price point was a huge game changer for underwater videography. Well, that's about it for this year's video, but if I see anything really neat out there, I'll make a copy of it, edit it up, and try to get it up on here. Take care and be safe on the river. Bye now.